Thank you for joining us on this brief report on the trip to Malawi for Literacy Ministry on May 4th to 31st, 2026, and in partnership with Literacy and Evangelism Canada, Literacy and Evangelism USA, Literacy and Evangelism Malawi, and Word for the World Malawi. We hope you enjoy this short report. Annie Fetters and from Literacy and Evangelism USA, and Carrie Jo Johnston from Literacy and Evangelism Canada caught up with our partners in Malawi, Maxwell Pitinyanga, Joffrey Sawali, and also the Africa Literacy Director for LNE, David Nabeen. So we arrived in Lilongwe and we're preparing for our journey to Chitipa. We met briefly with our partners in Word for the World Malawi, who are sponsoring the primer construction workshop in the Sukwa language, and also who were helping with some other projects that we were working on. So we had a nice visit with them in Lilongwe before we headed up to Chitipa the next day. On our 2.5-day journey to Chitipa in the northern part of Malawi, we saw all kinds of things we don't normally see in North America. A few chickens going to market, moving, sitting on the couches in the back, and of course the car difficulties you always seem to have on these kinds of trips. Along the way, we saw many different modes of transportation, from walking with ox carts and bicycles and motorbikes. It made for an interesting journey. Along the way also we saw evidence of the abundance of Malawi's agriculture and fishing industry. We got to, as we went by Lake Malawi, to see the boats and all the fishermen that were out there. The oranges were just coming into season, along with a lot of other nice produce. On the road to Chitipa, there's one section as you're coming down from the higher altitude down to Lake Malawi, where the baboons are very frequent and people feed them, so they come running alongside the car to see what you might have for them. Once we arrived in Chitipa after our 2.5-day journey, we were able to meet with our 6 language speakers. 3 of them are the Bible translators for the Sukwa language, plus 3 other community members who were working with us to develop the 82-lesson literacy primer series for the Sukwa language. As we started our 2-week workshop, we were looking at preparing 82 literacy lessons in that 2 weeks for 2 book series, and we began working with our language speakers to look for picture words and for them to write stories. Every morning began with devotions and a song and a scripture reading and a meditation on that. So to set our minds and our hearts on who we were doing this for the Lord's glory, and to remind us that it was His strength that would help us through this workshop. Once we had lesson 1 complete, we were able to make a chart of the lesson. Joffrey is making a chart here, and then we were able to show the Sukwa language speakers what lesson 1 of their primer would look like and how it would be taught. So then we could check the teaching guide to make sure everything was accurate. We had a really good team that worked very well together, which is a blessing because that helps us to get the work done that needs to be done. And so here the team is working on some Bible stories and other lessons. They're gathering around the table to write and rewrite and to generally make the lessons the best that they can be. Of course, as they're working, the team needs sustenance, so every day we had lunch together, and we always had the choice of rice or ensima here in the center of your picture, or chicken or beef, and sometimes fish, and a little coleslaw or some kind of cooked vegetable. And so this was our daily lunch, and it was very delicious. All of that delicious food was cooked in this kitchen that you see on your left on 3 coal-burning little stoves down at the bottom. We were meeting in the conference room of this one hotel that you can see on your right. We had our work zones set up. Joffrey and myself and Penny were off to one side where we were working on various aspects of the primer construction, and then we had the team kind of in the center of the room, and they would worked well together, and we would kind of go back and forth as needed to consult with them and to see what was happening. The one Sunday that we were up in Action Chatipa, we were able to go up to Asukwa village. Pastor Laurent invited us to his church. He was one of our language speakers, and we were able to go up and join his congregation for the morning worship and also see a few other sites along the way. Pastor Laurent is the pastor of the Africa Inland Church in the village there, and you can see him on the left in the middle between Joffrey and Maxwell. We are also able just to hear some of the choirs in the congregation. Here the children's choir is singing for us. After worship, we had a chance to meet with some of the people in the village, and also Pastor Laurent with his wife, and the threshing basket, which was very important in the stories, and we wanted to see an actual representation of the basket. After a beautiful lunch, as we were preparing to leave, they presented us with gifts of bananas and avocados and other fruit of their harvest that was happening right then. We were able to visit the Sukwa Bible translation office that is there in that village, and Cephas was kind of one of the lead translators who was showing us around the office area. The translators have completed the draft of the New Testament, and a lot of it is being checked, but the Gospel of Luke and Mark have been completed, and they have printed copies of those for the people to be able to read. The team was able to complete the draft of the 82 lessons, and we were able to put the first lesson on the computer so they could see what the lessons will actually look like. So we're in the process now of completing the desktop publishing for the Sukwa literacy primers. Our last night together, we had a grand celebration where we were able to have a great buffet and just greetings and thanks among the team. And it was a beautiful time of celebration. At the celebration, Feedless, one of our female language speakers, presented her literacy song that she had been writing, and the team really enjoyed singing this, that they will be using in some of their literacy classes and other promotional activities among the Sukwa people. After completing the draft of the 82-lesson Sukwa Literacy Primer, we headed from the north of Malawi, Chitipa, down to the south of Malawi in Blantyre. And here we were going to meet with some other ministries that were interested in doing literacy in their various places, and it was exciting to connect with them. We met up with Hastings Vale, the in-country director for Friends of Prisons Malawi, a ministry that is sponsored partly by the Presbyterian Church in Canada, as well as other ministries and missions. Our hope in meeting Hastings and our connection with Friends of Prisons Malawi was to further the possibility of literacy classes among the prisons they work in. We had the chance to visit the Cholo Women's Prison while we were there and to greet some of the women and to promote literacy there. Carrie Jo Johnston was able to give a short address about the woman at the well in John 4, and she was also able to, along with others, hand out soap to the 65 women prisoners and their 11 children. And we were told at the end of this time that they will be starting a literacy class there soon. We also had a brief stop at the Bible Society, and we are excited that the connections between the Bible Society, Friends of Prisons Malawi, Literacy and Evangelism Malawi are promoting Bible content literacy among the people in that region. Penny Fetters and Carrie Jo Johnston were also able to meet with Golden, who was one of the Kakola literacy language speakers on the team last year. As they developed the Kakola language, so he needed to do some edits and revisions, and we were able to meet with him in a long way the day before we were leaving. After almost 30 days in Malawi, Penny and I prepared to board our flight that would take us back to North America, And with a sad heart, we left, but we know that the work will continue, and we continue to work with the teams through video conferencing and emails and that kind of thing to complete these primers and to further literacy in Malawi. Thanks so much for your partnership. Without you, this does not happen. Through your prayers and your financial giving. God bless you.